Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about PTE, the Pearson Test of English. Recently I undertook this exam and I scored a 90, an overall score of 90, which is the highest you can get in a PTE exam. So I decided to make this video to help anyone who is looking to write the exam in current times or maybe planning to write it in the future. I feel like this video is going to be very helpful to you. Just a little background story. My name is Belinda, as you can already see on your screen, and I moved to Australia 2 years ago on a student visa to study my master's, the Master of Data Science at the University of Southern Queensland. And I recently completed my studies, so I had to write another English exam to apply for another visa. So the first time before I moved to Australia, I actually wrote the IELTS, and when I wrote IELTS, I scored a band 8. Which I thought was a pretty good score, as what was required at the time for my course was a 6.5 only. So I believe that the tips and tricks and every discussion that we're going to have today is going to be helpful to anyone who's looking to move and requires writing an English test, and anyone who is already in a particular country that requires them to write a test for any sort of visa that they're looking to apply for. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. So in this video, we're going to be exploring 3 things, okay? We're going to be talking about the test format and the question types that the PTE test takes, and we're going to be looking at the tips and tricks that I would be sharing with you. They're not that long. And we're also going to be looking at the resources that I used to prepare for this exam. So let's begin with the most important things, okay? So the PTE exam is only one. You know how IELTS has like 3 different types? They have the IELTS general exams, they have the IELTS academic, and then they have the IELTS UKVI. I don't know if that's the same thing as the general, but back when I wrote it in 2022, I think it had about 3 different types. So for the PTE, it's just PTE Academic. So one thing about the PTE exam that you need to note is that it is a computer-based exam. Everything is computer-based. You're speaking, it has the same 4 components as the IELTS. The speaking, listening, writing, reading, all computer-based. You're speaking into a microphone. It's a headphone that you wear on your head, and then it has an extended microphone that just comes to your mouth and allows you to speak into it, and then it captures your voice and sends it across when you answer a question. Another thing that we're going to look at is the exam pattern. Now, what form does this exam take? The components have different times that you have to complete it. So speaking and writing often comes first. They are usually the first part of the exam, and they take around 53 to 67 minutes. So that's about an hour and a few minutes added. Okay, so we're going to be exploring the question types, but I just wanted to tell you how much time it takes to answer questions in each of the components. The reading takes about 30 minutes to answer. The listening takes about 43 minutes max to answer. So for the speaking and the writing, you would have 7 different question types. There are a lot of tasks in those question types, but it's just 7 different question types. Reading has 5 different question types, and listening has 8 question types. Now let's move into the nitty-gritty of it. Let's go into the question types that these components have. Now, the question types in the component for speaking and writing are 1, personal introduction. So at the start of the exam, the personal introduction is basically just you speaking into the microphone. It's usually just there to test if your mic works. It's not particularly for anything special. You're not going to get graded on that. It just, once the exam starts, you click, you start your exam. Just speak into the mic, just say a few words, you can just introduce yourself. That's the only recording in that exam note that you can play back. So once you record it, you play it back and you can hear what you've just said. If it's clear enough to you, if it sounds great, you move on and you begin the exam. But if it doesn't sound properly, or maybe there's some noise in the system, you just can't hear it properly, there might be something wrong with your mic. You need to call for help and have that mic changed out and all of that before you begin your exam, so that it doesn't affect your test in any way. Okay, so that's the first part. Note that introduction is not graded at all, but it's recommended that you do it. Now for the main question types under the speaking and the writing component, we have the read aloud. It's going to come in form of a text on your screen, and usually they'll be like, you have 35 seconds to record what you can see on your screen. It doesn't even tell you this is the read aloud question type. Just the prompt alone, it will just be something like take 6 seconds to go over the text. You have 35 seconds to record it. So the 6 seconds are counting down once you're looking at the question. So I'm going to advise you to pay attention to just skim the text and pay attention to words that you've probably never heard about before, have never seen before, and it might be difficult to pronounce, and try to pronounce the word. So in the read aloud, one tip, number one, skim through the text to look for hard words that you've probably never seen before, and note how to pronounce those words so that once the recording starts, you just record. Two, when you say something and you miss out on saying a word out of the sentence, doesn't matter, just move on. No one cares, okay? As long as you capture most of what is written in the text, you're good to go. Move on to the next one. Remember, the time is counting down. And once the recording stops, it stops. So you don't have enough time to start going over the details again. Just move on. Next one, we have the repeat sentence. You might get, for the read aloud, you might get about 6 to 7 questions under this question type. So we have the repeat sentence. The repeat sentence you can have about 10 to 12 tasks under this. Basically, repeat sentence is a sentence, is played in an audio that you would hear through the headphones. You could just hear, Belinda Keme is a girl and she's from Imo State. Whatever you hear, you just, the stop beeps, it goes boop, and then you just say, Belinda Keme is a girl and she's from Imo State. Simple. Move on to the next question. That's basically what the repeat sentence question is about. Describe image. So an image is given. It could be in form of a table, say something like this on your screen, right? And then you have to describe what you can see in the image. And you have about 40 to 50 seconds to do so, about 30 to 40 seconds, something like that. Yeah, so practice a lot of the described images question types. It's really going to help you to know how to describe images fluently and carefully. Enunciate your words. The next question type under this component is the retell lecture. So a lecture is going to be played and you're going to see a question prompt on it. So a lecture is going to play, that's about 40 seconds long. You have 10 seconds to prepare. Retell the lecture. So now one thing you need to note is that with the PTE exam, there's always a notepad and markers that they give you. It's in the exams hall. You don't take it in with you. And it's something that you can use to note down things so that you can answer questions. So for this kind of question type, the retell lecture, you're going to need to note things down. Okay, you're going to need to note things down. So once you see the retell lecture, you see the prompt, blah, 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 just grab your notepad. Retell lecture. So now, whatever you've heard, whatever you're hearing, if they are talking about exercise, about how exercise is good, you write, speech is about exercise, exercise is good, helps your cardiovascular system, helps your heart, helps you sleep well, kiniko, you write all of that down. You don't have to go into great details. As long as you can hear what is being said and you know that you can narrate it or retell it, not the same way that the person did, but just in a way that anyone who listens to you can tell, oh, these are the components of this lecture this person just heard. This is what this lecture is about, like being able to repeat this to someone. So for the retell lecture question type, you can get about 3 to 4 questions or 4 tasks under this. Then the next question that you get under this component of speaking and writing is the answer short questions. Could be about 10 to 12 of this. Now, answer short questions, the question types are often very easy to answer. Like, it's probably like the best part of the speaking and the writing component. It goes like this. Say you hear an audio ask you a question and you just have to say one word, 1 or 2 words. For example, what do people wear to schools? Beep, you have to record uniforms. Once you hear what question was asked, you provide the answer, you just click next, you answer the next questions, and remember your time is counting down, so you really need to be quick with this. The next one is write an essay. So you'll be given a question prompt. It might just be a topic. You know how if you've ever written IELTS, they could have a question of like, Some people think exercise is good for you, and some are of the opinion that it's a circle of abuse. Once you start, you can't stop. Write the advantages and disadvantages of exercise, or who do you stand with, or something like that. You have about 20 minutes to complete this exercise. It could be a short one where they require you to write about 150 words, and then it could be a longer one where they require you to write about 300 words. Whatever it is, try as much as possible. If you're required to write 300 words, write as much as 250. 250 when you're required to write 300 is perfect. You don't have to write 300 on the dot. As long as the 250 makes sense, the 260 makes sense, 270 makes sense, write that, okay? Just make sure that it's more than 250 or 250 on the dot. It's very important to do that. Now, next we have summarized written text. So basically they have a paragraph of a text, and it could be about 150 to about 200 words, and then they want you to summarize it in one sentence. So you're going to write about 5 to 75 words of this, right? So one sentence, I mean that you cannot use a full stop so many times in the sentence. It's just one sentence. So one full stop. You're going to use joiners and try to join the texts together. So if you're talking about exercise, like I mentioned, you could be like, exercise is good for you. It stimulates your cardiovascular health, and it also helps you, see, and it also, it does say, you can't say it helps your cardiovascular health, full stop. It also helps you sleep well. No, you add it, and it also blah 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 until you get to maybe 70 words, maybe 65 words, and then you put full stop. You've completed your sentence. Make sure that whatever text is given to you, the summary that you're giving is relating to the text that was given to you. Make sure that what you're summarizing is in the text in a way. Put it down there, okay? Put it down. It doesn't have to be exact word for word. You have to paraphrase it in a way that it fits into one sentence. So read that carefully and try to find a way to summarize it into one sentence. The next question type that we have are under the second component, which is the reading component, okay? The third component, I would say, because the first one was for the speaking and writing. So the good thing about PTE is that what if there's some question types that you would answer that contributes marks to different components, like this first questions that we just went over, the 7 question types, the read aloud, repeat sentence, all of that contributes. Some of it contributes to not just your speaking, but also to your writing. Under the reading component, we have the question types. We have fill in the blanks. So I'm sure if you've written IELTS, you've seen this with IELTS, fill in the blanks, where you kind of drag and drop answers. There's a whole text appearing on your screen, and there are empty spots, and then you look at the words down here, you drag and drop them, whichever one you feel fits perfectly into the sentence. So this contributes marks to your reading and your writing. That's why it's very, very important to practice these question types, and it's very, very, very important to be careful when you're answering these questions. Another question type they have with the reading section is the multiple choice and multiple answers. So you can get about 5 to 6 of this. Multiple choice, multiple answers is where you get a text that you read, and then you see answers, and they'll like select all that apply. So you have to select all the answers that apply to answer that particular question. Now, one thing that I'm going to recommend, a tip that I'm going to give you for this multiple choice and multiple answers section, is that you shouldn't focus on reading the text before you move to the answers. Look at the answers. Look at the question and the answers, and then you go and you find, look at the question and then you go to the text and find where whatever the question is pointing to is. Don't think about reading the text and then go and answer the question. There's no time to do that. I hope that helps. The next question type we have is reorder paragraph. So basically they've scattered a sentence, right? Just in different tiers like that. You have to find the one that is supposed to come first. You put it at the top. The one that should come next after it, you put it at the front. So now the tip for this one is to find the leading sentence. When you find something that opens the conversation, that's how you can select the first thing that should go, the first paragraph that should go on top. And then you find something that sounds like a concluding sentence and put it at the end. Then you can now find the other 3 or the other 2 that are in between to fill them up. There is a full video about that explores different question types. You can watch this video by Varun. Yes, the person in the video is called Varun. They didn't pay me for this video. I'm just telling you what I used and what helped me to identify the question types and also to provide answers in the way that I should, that gave me the marks that I currently have. So I recommend watching that video. It's very long, but it gives you an in-depth insight into the question types and the ways that you're supposed to approach this question type. So it really helps you with answering the question so that you're confident on the exam day and you do your best. Now we have to fill in the blanks also for reading. Also another drag and drop. The other fill in the blank is really contributes to reading and writing. There's another one that is just reading. You read, you drag and drop. There's another one where you kind of have to write, like fill in the blank when they say something, and then you think of a word that you feel will fit into that place, and then you write the answer. Make sure that you're paying attention to where the word needs to start with caps, with capital letters. After what did they call that? After a full stop, you know that if there's a blank after a full stop, the word that you're writing should start with a capital letter. Just pay attention to those. Those are very important. Because the computer is not going to tell you that you're doing it wrong. When you're typing on Word document, Microsoft, and then it just shows you, it underlines it quickly red, or it just even capitalizes the word that comes after the full stop immediately for you. Doesn't do like that on that day. So you might be on the wrong path and you wouldn't even know, and you can lose marks for that. So pay attention to that. Be careful. Next, we have multiple choice, single answer. Now we have ones where you have to select multiple answers, and then we have another one for single answers. So basically, these are all question types under the reading component. Now for the last part, the listening part. This question type, this segment takes about 43 minutes, like I mentioned in the beginning. The question types that are here, one, we have summarized spoken text. So technically, you listen to a text and then you just summarize it. Like you summarize what you hear. The next one, we have multiple choice, multiple answers, just like with the reading component. Yes, you're going to, but the difference here is that you're going to listen to an audio that's about 40 to 90 minutes, 90 seconds, minutes. How many hours is the exam? 40 to 90 seconds long, okay? And then you just select the answers that apply, right? So you have to listen. At this point, you have to listen carefully and select the answers that apply. Another one we have is fill in the blanks. So you're listening to the audio, and the audio is going to be saying the full text. Meanwhile, they are missing blanks there. So you have to be paying attention to what you're listening to. And then it'll help for you to note what you're listening. So hands on the notepad, eyes on the screen, you're reading the same time that the audio is playing. So Belinda Akeme is a girl, but there's a dash here. Belinda Akeme is a dash. So what is Belinda Akeme? You've heard girl. Eyes on the screen, your hand is scribbling on the paper. On the notepad, you've written girl. You continue like that. Every fill in the blank. Then number 2, the next blank, you write down what is said. It doesn't give you 45 seconds here to finish the answer. It's just all counting down for a period of about 43 minutes, right? The stuff is just counting down there. So you're using it to answer all the questions in this component. So it's very important that the moment the recording just stops, you're the one who gets to press next to move to the next question. So you make sure you just start typing in the answers, like fill in the blank immediately. Look at your notes and write down. But make sure that as you're listening, you're paying attention to your screen to read and then note what is missing in the blanks. Now, the next question we have on the listening component, we have the highlight correct summary. The highlight correct summary is where you're listening to a text, right? We're listening to an audio message. There's a summary of like different summaries. There's like the audio was talking about this, right? And then you select which one applies. So the audio was talking about Belinda, who is a YouTuber that lives in Australia. Does this one relate to what the audio was talking about? You click that, and that's how you answer the question for this one. Next one we have is single answer, right? So you listen to an audio. It's very important that your eyes are on the screen so that you can note whatever is happening. Because once the audio finishes playing, it doesn't replay. So it's very important to just pay attention to what is happening on your screen and in your ears, okay? Listen, read, and make sure to note the correct answer. Then we have a select the missing word. So you listen to audios, right? And then you just select a word that best completes the audio. So technically towards the end, you might get a bit positive or negative. Depending on that, that's how you know which answer to actually select. So they're asking you to select a word that will best complete the audio you just listened to. The audio is incomplete. It's basically just going to be like, but some people do not like to. We've been talking about exercise the whole time. So if you see exercise in the session, there's a chance exercise is the answer. Some people do not like to exercise. Well, you just click it. So make sure that you're paying attention so that towards the end, as you're paying attention, you're reading the question types and you're reading the question and you're reading the answers that are given to you. So you know which one to select. Next one, we have highlight incorrect word. This is probably my favorite part of this exam because you're listening to an audio, right? And the audio is the same exact text as what is on your screen. The only difference is some words are wrong. So hands on your mouse, cursor should be on the text, ready to just click, okay? So you're reading through, you're listening. Audio has said Belinda Akeme is a girl. But on this text, you're seeing Belinda Akeme is a boy. You just click boy. Once you click it, it highlights it in yellow, okay? Once you just left click it, yellow, okay? That's it. Boy is incorrect, so that's one incorrect word. You keep skimming through, you keep moving the cursor, using your mouse to move the cursor to follow the text as you're listening. Belinda Akeme is studying in Australia and you see UK on the screen, you click UK, that's an incorrect word. That's exactly how this question type goes. It's probably like the best one amongst all of them. There are actually some other ones that are like simple and really nice to answer, but I feel like this was my favorite part in the listening component. It's one interesting question type, so just keep practicing. And then the final question type here is write from dictation. So basically, you know how dictation works. Someone says a word and then you write what they said. The thing is it's not even one word that you can hear. It's a whole sentence. You understand? It could just be like, Belinda Akeme is from Umudurabiakam village in the Delta local government area of Imo State, Nigeria. Now, you have to have heard what they said. Even if you don't hear all of the words that was said, as long as you hear a lot of it, write what you hear, okay? Write exactly what you hear. That's what the answer is supposed to be. Exactly what you hear. Don't try to change the order. Don't try to paraphrase it. Okay, don't switch up the order, don't paraphrase it, don't do Chan, don't change, don't add your style. It's very important that you write it exactly how you've heard it. If you miss a word, it's okay. Just write what you hear, but let it be in the same order, because paraphrasing it or changing the order of the sentence can reduce your score. So it's very important for you to follow through with whatever it is that you've heard. Okay? Now we're down to the tips and tricks that I used or that I would advise you to use. 1, don't stress. I was stressing on my exam day, I'm not going to lie. I am not going to lie. I literally, my school was my test center. Yes, they have a test center at my university, so I had to drive there to write my exam. And believe me, I was panicking so much that my school is 3 minutes away from my house. I drove past my school. I was paying attention to the driving, but I drove past my school. So, I've passed my school, and then in the corner of my eye, I was like, wasn't that the University of Southern Queensland? And then I had to find a road to get into and do a whole U-turn and get back to school. And I was like, oh my God, what is wrong with me? Yeah, so don't stress. It's just an exam. It'll come and go. As long as you've practiced, you've done your best. Believe me, you have. So just have confidence in yourself that you can do as well as you've done during your practice time, or even better. And aim high. As much as this stuff might just require you to have a particular score overall and particular scores in different components, I also advise to aim higher. Aiming high would help you get the required score or more than the required score. So aim high. Number 3, most important, do not worry about your accent. Yes, I know it's a test of English, it's not a test of accent. It's not a time for you to come and start showing that you can switch in between accents. It's not easy on that day trying to answer questions in an accent. If you have a British accent, great. If you have an Australian accent, better. If you have any sort of accent, good for you. The important thing is in your enunciation of the words. what you're hearing, what you're seeing, what you're writing. Spelling should be correct. What you're hearing should be what you're putting out. What you've listened to should be what you're speaking. Enunciate your words. It's a test of English, not a test of accent. Believe me, if you were English, you wouldn't need to write the exam. Believe me, if you were, in most cases, you wouldn't need to write the exam. Let's be honest. So don't try to switch your accent for any reason. How you sound is perfectly fine. Just focus on pronouncing the words firmly and clearly, okay? Number 4, practice question types. Don't go there and then you see something that is shocking to you. Practice question types. One thing that I used during my time was I practiced all question types. Then when I figured that I understood how to answer, or at least could attempt to answer certain question types, I focused on the ones that I struggled to answer. For example, for the reading aspect, I really hated the reorder paragraphs. Like I couldn't, there were so many question types, but some that I could easily see the leading sentence and then go with that. But then some I was just like, where is the leading sentence? Hey, I focused on the question type that I knew I had a hard time understanding how to answer or approach, more than I focused on what I was already doing well at. Okay, but it doesn't mean that I did not practice what I was getting right. I did. I just practiced the other one that I wasn't getting right more, just to get better at it. Hope that helps. Another one is, do not pay attention to people's voices in the exam on the exam day. Focus on your focus. See, this is very important because on the exam day, remember it's a headphone, extended mic to your mouth. Because the headphone is not talking at every single point, it's not playing something at every single interval. Even when it is, it's not noise cancelling. You can still hear people in the background. Don't be like, start focusing on what this person is saying. Don't care about it because their voice sounding in the background is not going to sound into your mic. Your mic is on your mouth only. The only thing that is caught by the mic, the only thing that is recorded by the mic is what you say into it, is what you speak into it. So their background voice, the background noise, the talks, the everyone trying to answer, they're not going to whisper. They'll be speaking out clearly on that exam day. So try not to get distracted by that, okay? It's not recording into your microphone. It's only what you say that is being recorded. Remember, calm down. It's just a test. It's just a test. Yes, it's very, very important that they get it right, but if you panic, you're not going to get it right. So whatever you do your breath work, try to calm down. Whatever helps you calm down. On that day, I was listening to Christian music. Let me know if you need any Christian song recommendations in the comment section below. Now we're down to the resources that I used. I only used about 2 websites. And these 2 websites also had YouTube channels. One is E2 Learning. Sorry, E2 Language. e2language.com. Okay, this is the website, and then they are also on YouTube as E2 Language. You can get this video here explaining every component. This is like a free mock test, so you're practicing, and then there's someone who comes up, I believe his name is Adam, if I remember that correctly, comes up and tells you, oh, did you answer this question this way? Here's a tip to answer that question, and then you get tips. Okay, yeah, and then they also have free practice materials on their website. So if you just have to sign up, once you sign up, you have access to everything, except for the paid classes though. They also have Zoom meetings that you can join to answer join like live practice and stuff like that if you're into that kind of practice. So you can have other people, just so you can find solace in the fact that you're not the only one that's preparing for this exam at that point. Might be helpful to you. Sign up and make sure that you attend the live classes. Next, we have the languageacademy.com.au. This one's an Australian website, so it has the AU at the end. I utilized their free mock test option. The free mock tests kind of produces your results almost immediately. I did the free mock after I had practiced, and I was confident that I'm sure that if I were to do this exam right now, I would be able to score above what was required, the 57. I'm sure that I would score above that. And as you can see from the screen, my free mock test, I scored a 79 in my free mock test. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Hell yeah. Yeah, I did that. I was very confident in myself. I was like, you see, that's above the 57 that is needed. So I think I can do this. I'm good. I'm gonna do this. In this present day and time, so many things are changing with the immigration policies, and it's just advised that you have so much documentation that immigration cannot say no to you. They see that and be like, what's the cube root of 512? Because she ate that. Look at that application, flawless, approved. Don't waste time. Make sure you always have things ready. Don't try to waive it. The Lord is your strength. Please, if they require the English test, just prepare and write it. One other thing I'd like to add is the price of the PTE is $460. Yeah, I know. I don't know how much it would be to write in Nigeria, but this is how much I paid in AUD to write this, Australian dollars. $460. So from the price, you really want to give it your best shot. Spend each day practicing, answering questions, practicing. Because it wasn't like IELTS, I didn't have to practice speaking with anyone. I just had to speak into the microphone, do the whole free mock test thing, practice a lot of questions, try to repeat so many things. It's not easy. Sometimes you might miss the words up. You might even mispronounce the words. You see bitter, you can't say better. And it was I, not E. Those are just simple things that can happen, but do not try to go back and start repeating it. Just move on. If your brain is trying to tell you, yo, Belinda, you just missed that. Well, tell your brain, I don't know about you. I don't know what you're thinking in your head, but I ate that. If it was better and I said beta, it is what it is, okay? A for effort, okay? You're not the computer, don't stress me, right? Silence the voices in your mind. Do not try to get yourself to do everything perfectly. Practice makes for improvement, not perfection, okay? People who run marathons don't just wake up and run a marathon. They practice, and even on the day of running the marathon, they might not even come first, right? But the point is, they ran the marathon. They completed the marathon. So please, whatever you do, practice. I really do wish you the best with your test prep. And I am here in the comment section, as always, to answer whatever questions you might have relating to PTE, relating to study in Australia. I'm not a professional migration officer. I would just provide information as well as I know with reference to what I had to go through during my own process of application, and I would be able to provide you with information as I know best. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. As usual, remain healthy. I was about to say healthy because I was thinking about saying health and I was also thinking about saying, sorry, I was thinking about saying healthy and I was also thinking about saying happy. So it's like healthy. Well, that works. Yeah, until I come your way next time, remain happy, healthy, and of course, wealthy. You know how it goes. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the comment section for any question that you have. Bye. Every single day, I'm gonna